Hi, coaches. Coach Eric, Coach Mark here, coachestrainingroom.com. Sorry for the delay a little bit. We were just updating Zoom, had some updates going on. So hope you are well. We're going to dive right into it quicker here because of that delay. So we hope you're doing well, staying safe. And I'm in the US, Mark is in the UK. And today's topic, we're going to focus on position. We got position focus. We're going to use some video on this and explaining through it. So we're excited for you to be here with us. Any questions, posted in the comments, and we appreciate you being here live. Let us know where you're from, how you're doing, and any questions you have as we go through today's session. How you doing over there, Mark?
I'm doing good. Yeah, keeping well. Just ready to into it. I'm sorry for some technical issues on my side. I'm still struggling with my speakers, so if you could just bear with me, that would be great.
So we're
doing really well. Obviously, Eric just mentioned there, I'm over in Manchester in the UK. The weather's been glorious now for the past week or so, so it's been welcome.
Excellent. And if we don't get, because we do have a hard stop today, but if we don't get to everything, we might get another one in during the week. So we're excited to go through this. Again, any questions, post in the comments. I'll be watching the feed there and let you know, Mark, so we can get right into it and moving forward. So happy to have you, coaches, and we'll get rolling here with the training.
Absolutely. Okay, yeah, so thanks very much for joining us. If you're joining us live, as Eric's mentioned, this one might be a little bit quicker than some of the usual ones we've been doing, which might be a relief to some, but I do know that, if there's any further questions that you get, just make sure that you're dropping them in the comments, because as Eric's mentioned, we might come on later in the week just to round up, because I might not cover everything. I can get quite... I can go off at a tangent sometimes with some of these things. So we will dive straight in. We're going to be talking, we did a position-specific session a couple of weeks back where I got some of the live video out, and we looked at some of the things that you don't necessarily see in the highlights, for example. Maybe a little bit of an idea as to how to watch the game with a different set of eyes, because we tend to gravitate towards what we're seeing, which is the end result, which is the ball going into the goal, but we don't always pay attention to the build-up, what happened off the ball. And it's important that we understand that part as well, because we're always telling our players, don't just watch your pass. Don't stand there and watch the ball, make sure that you're actively involved. Now, that can be a difficult concept to understand. How am I actively involved if I don't have the ball? But by actually watching these highlights back with a different set of eyes, with a more analytical head, you can see how a subtle movement from an attacking player, even 3 yards just moving away from the ball, can actually draw a defender with them, and that's creating the pocket of space in the right area. So they don't get all the plaudits when you're watching the highlights, but they have just played arguably as important a role in the build-up to that goal as the player receiving the ball or the player making the pass. So we did that. We looked at a midfielder and how they move. Today we're going to look at defending, and I'm not going to labour too many of these points, because in previous months we have looked at defending. We looked at the lay-in as the role of the first defender, depth provided by the second and third defender, and of course the concentration and balance provided by the third and fourth defenders. So I won't dive straight into that. If you do have any questions regarding that particular part, if you're joining us here and you've not watched the previous videos, just send us a message in the comments, and I'll happily get into that part with you when we get done. So defensive players, again, we might only be talking about a crucial tackle that would make a highlight reel necessarily. The defensive player, if we're putting in a last minute challenge, that means something's gone wrong once, twice before that for us to actually get to that point. Now, it could be a moment of brilliance from the other team, but it could just be we're out of position, we're out of shape, and somebody's had to make that last minute challenge. Now, it looks great, but it doesn't mean that things have gone wrong before that. So defensive principles for any defensive minded players, we're going to be looking at the discipline of the players, there's going to be a lot of repetition when it comes down to actually a well-rehearsed back line. So a lot of discipline, and it's going to be about timing and decision making. It's a reactive role as a defender. Yes, you can cover space, but ultimately you are second guessing what the attacker with the ball is going to do. So you're going to have to react to a situation. You're going to have to be able to make quick decisions, and then also quick movements with your body to get into position, but then also communicate with the people around you. Because if you break rank and you go and assume the role as the first defender, other people are going to have to fill in around you. So it's important to make the decision, but then also communicate what you're doing. Make sure that you're always saying those points, even if it sounds really obvious. You can see that you're closing your players around. You can see that you're closing down the ball. You can just vocalizing that for somebody who might have their eye on. It could be the third defender who's not necessarily actively involved in that defensive unit. They're providing the balance. They're watching the runners off the ball. Maybe not following the runner, but they're just watching where they're going, guarding the space and cutting off the passing channel to those players. And importantly, as a defender as well, it's important to know your surroundings. So that is the players on your team, your position, but also your position on the field. And I would encourage anyone. We did a post up a couple of weeks ago to see if people knew the dimensions of the area. But it's important that, I know it sounds kind of, we're running around the field. We understand how big the field is, but do we know where we are? Could we say how far we are from the goal just by looking around at the field marking? And that can be an important indicator of what we need to do as a defender in that situation. You'll find that some players use so they'll be tracking back, they'll be delaying the attacker, they'll be delaying that run. And then you'll notice if you focused on one particular player, and then when they put the challenge in, there's a trigger somewhere within them that they say, okay, well, I've reached this point. I'm going to put a challenge in. I'm going to take a chance here on the edge of the area, because if I play too long, I'm going into the area, and if I put in the challenge in the area and it goes wrong, ultimately that's it. I'm going to give away a penalty. So I'm going to put the challenge in at a certain point on the field, and attackers as well. They will look at that. They say, okay, well, this player likes to commit around this point, so that's when I'm going to make my move, or I'm going to pass the ball away. If they overcommit, I'm looking at the space behind them. So just a couple of things. We are going to jump straight into video here. So here we go. Me at the control, so just bear with me, Eric. Sorry.
Oh, you're good. We got Coach Jacob on. We got Coach Bora. Thanks for joining. Coach Greg, Melissa from Michigan. We got post where you're watching from, coaches. Would be interested in hearing where you're from as well. So thanks for joining.
Yeah, thanks for joining. If you're joining live, and a couple of familiar names there, so thanks for joining again. I'm just about ready, Eric.
Oh, you're good.
For a second.
I'm just.
Here we go. So this is a short clip, and we're talking about the. Again, it's going to be. Can you see the screen, Eric? Just give me a quick nod if you can. Yep, perfect. Okay, so this is all going to happen in the blink of an eye. I tried to slow it down, but what we're looking at here is shape defensively, and I'm going to switch to the board in just a second. But shape defensively here in this example, we can see this player here that looks kind of like a white shirt on. It's just the sunshine on it there. We've got a back four, and we've got a play. We've lost the ball quite high up the field, so we're kind of resetting, but we're trying to manage that transition period. We've got a player who's pressed out, who is ultimately going to make the challenge here. We have a couple of players just providing that little bit of depth and support around the ball, just in case that player gets beaten. So the position defensively will be communicated even in a short space of time here. What we're looking at here is the confidence to challenge for the ball. So player has pushed out. We're confident that this isn't a flat line. If this was a flat back line of players here, we're just going to drop at that point, because if I step up and they bypass me at that point, I'm running alongside them as the defender who's applying the support and depth. So I don't want to be in a position where I'm racing a player towards the goal, because they're effectively in. I want to be in a position where I can step into that space and slow them down to make sure that we can get more players back behind the ball. So as the player here stepping out, he's confident that there's players behind him. When they take a big touch, he can step in and take the ball back. So if I just rewind that slightly, it's going to play again. So step in, and they're going to take the ball here. You'll notice these players have dropped off here. We've made the challenge in. A couple of players coming back around the ball. We're confident here at this point that the player doesn't have necessarily a passing option on. So in delaying, in these players dropping off, we've cut off all passing angles, which is allowing this player here to put a challenge in effectively without risk. It's far enough away from the goal to say that they're not going to be taking a shot on goal from there. And percentage speaking, quite a low percent of converting from there. Can't get the pass away necessarily because I'm going to close that space down and cut that off. And also their body position, I've made predictable. I've moved them out this way. That pass to the far side isn't on. So I'm giving myself a pretty risk-free pass here, just by risk-free challenge, just by communicating with my teammates and trusting where they are within that process. They understand I'm going to the ball, they're going to drop off around me, off the angles, and provide me that depth to make the challenge safely in the right area of the field, knowing that I could be covered if I did make a bit of a mess of that challenge. Okay, and we'll dive straight into the second one. So again, the first one there, we're looking more at the shape of everything, the discipline as a defensive line. So a defensive four in these arguments. Again, feel free to try and relate it to the players that you've got. If you work with a three, if you're looking at, I don't know, 7-a-side, nines, anything like that, just make sure that you're applying the same principles to the players that you have. Now, sometimes there are situations where you have to read the danger, and that is thinking outside the side of your particular role. So I look at the second video up here.
Also, coaches, curious to know also if how your state is doing. Are they opening soccer in your state or country? Let us know.
Yeah, let us know. Let us know where you're up to, because there's definitely some things returning. You know, in the UK, we've got the Premier League coming back over to soon. A few things in Europe. So interesting to know where everyone's country is up to with regards to a return to youth soccer. I got the second video here, so here we go. All right, so in this particular example, if you can see the screen, Eric, just let me know.
Yep,
good. Okay, so the player on I'm going to play it through once, and then I'm going to explain what we see. So we talk sometimes, you get ex-defenders, former defenders who are, now taking up more of a punditry role, or just people who have been admired for years and years and years. They always talk about putting in a challenge being a kind of last resort. And so that is what they're meaning by that there is reading the danger. Everything that we've just been talking about there. If you put in the challenge at the last minute, yes, it looks great. It looks great on your YouTube highlight reel that you just put together season after season. Ultimately, you are reacting to something that has happened before, and you're making that last-ditch challenge. Here, you'll notice how far the player who actually makes the challenge is away from the action. So at this point, I would say that you've got the potentially the first defender here is going to go out and close the space down. Second defender is going to provide, we'll call it second defender for what it's worth here. You could look at this any way of three ways, because it all happens very, very fast. But this second defender here is going to provide a bit of depth, and also the third defender here is tracking a runner in this particular example. You could switch those two around for argument's sake. For what it's worth, second defender, we'll call it for now, has identified something. They've seen the ball coming in. They've seen that this player could be a little bit exposed. If the player does take a first touch, they're taking both of these players out of play. What they've actually done is made a decision a quick decision. And it's exactly what we were saying before. It's about that decision making. It's about the timing, and it's about committing to it quite early. I know what I'm going to do. I know what I think is going to happen. I know I'm not exposing my teammates over that side of the field because I've looked around me. I've looked at my surroundings, my opposition, and my players who are with me. And I'm going to step in. I'm going to read the play. I'm going to come across, and I'm actually going to cut that ball out because I feel like I'm in a position. And again, a teammate who was actually in a foot race against a pretty fast player there just eases the player out of the way. If you notice here, they just get the body in between the way and just ease them the other side of that defender. So actually no challenge was made. It was just an interception at the end of that. I'll just play it through one more time. So again, read the play. My teammate realizes what's happening because I'm in a foot race with a very, very fast player. And, I'm not entirely sure I was going to win it. The players come across, I've eased them out of the way, and no challenge has actually been made, and we've got the ball back. A little bit of a heavy first touch there in that example, ended up needing to make the challenge again. But yeah, that's what we're looking for, kind of thinking outside of the box, reading the danger and switching the roles, because everyone's role changes. If I become that first defender when I step in and take the ball, other players are going to have to assume roles around me. And then lastly, we'll just leave you with a quick session, because we do like to make sure that we're trying to provide stuff. This is actually Eric. This is Eric's first time seeing it as well. This is our new month 27, Eric. By the way, this is one of the warm-ups from month 27 in Soccer Coaches University.
Excellent.
I'll just give you a very, very quick 2-minute overview of what we're doing. Again, as we've mentioned before, this is going to be a little bit of a shorter one tonight. I'll just get the screen share going again.
So Coach Michael is in the UK as well, Mark, and he says the junior schools are back, but no grassroots yet. And then Melissa says, well, Melissa's here in Michigan with me, and she says we are in phase 4. So events are starting to happen with restrictions.
Okay. Yeah.
So Coach Ahmed and Coach John. So Coach Ahmed from Egypt and John from Australia. Thanks for joining.
Yeah, I think today was the first day back for some schools in the UK. So yeah, it's exciting. It's a step in the right direction. Again, it's as we keep saying, and the advice from most countries seems to be, following the medical advice that is right for the moment. So
yes.
Right, okay. I think I've shared the screen. Eric, can you just let me know? Looking all right, yeah, okay. So yeah, just a session. It's actually got no ball involved with this particular warm-up. There are ways we can actually adapt this to include a ball. Ultimately, we've got one coach at the top here who's going to call out a number. We've got 4 cones here. Only going to be blue players moving, but I've actually set it up so that you could have the red players doing exactly the same thing at the same time. Just limits the waiting time. And what we can do ultimately is just remove, if we want to start incorporating some pressure, we can keep the field format. We can start to add some conditions in there. So very, very simply, all it is coach calls out a number. The cones are numbered. Number 1, everyone presses around the number 1, and then they drop. Coach calls 2, again, press out, assuming the role of the right defender, sliding along as we go. I'm just going to pause it here with number 3. In fact, we'll just back up. It's important. This will take a little bit of stopping and starting at first, just to make sure that our position is right, that we're comfortable with our position as a group, because it might be that we say, okay, well, analytically now, are we a little bit too deep? Are we a little bit too narrow? Are we a little bit too this, that? And we can have that kind of analysis as we go to get people comfortable at where they should be when we're on the field, because it's important that we're able to firstly understand where we should be, secondly get there quickly. So coach is calling out a number, and we're shifting around as we go. Now, what I mentioned about not dropping back, I mentioned something earlier about a straight line. If we're in a straight line, we're obviously very, very vulnerable, because one ball through that defensive line is actually going to take out all 4 players. So you'll notice how we drop slowly back, creating that little bit of between, obviously the first player who is back, the first player who is providing the pressure, and then also we give ourselves a little bit of depth, just in case there's a long ball played over the top. And that is something that we can kind of incorporate within this session as we go. It might be that you start a ball with the red players and only the blue players go for the first, 3 or 4 balls in. And we say, okay, press out number 2. Number 2 on the red side has a soccer ball, and we press out, we drop, and at that point, the player number 2 from the red side can play a long ball over the top, and it's our job as a collective group to position and clear the danger. That's one way that we can incorporate a soccer ball in there. We can provide some coaching points for this particular little warm-up idea that can be built into a full session. You can actually build in the rules as you go. For this one, I'm going to stop the share there. Okay. So yeah, just a little bit of an idea to get you thinking about what it's going to be like when we get back to the field. Again, it's going to be a lot of repetition for the defensive players to get that idea, to get the concept into their heads, and then a little bit of freedom of thought within that to make sure that we're able to color outside the box and make sure that we're doing the right things at the right time as a defensive unit.
Okay, great. Mark gave you a little sneak peek inside of Soccer Coaches University. Some of you might be a member of our Soccer Coaches University member program. So he mentioned month 27. So we got 27 months inside of Soccer Coaches University. And that's just a little glimpse of a part of Soccer Coaches University. We have a full in-depth training. You also get downloadable PDF of each and every session every single month. We're pumping new full session plans into Soccer Coaches University with full walkthroughs by Coach Mark. So if you like this little snack bite size of sessions and how we walk through these, how Coach Mark walks through these with you, then you'll definitely like Soccer Coaches University. If you haven't checked it out, you can sign up for a free 14-day trial at coachestrainingroom.com/SCU29. So I'd recommend checking that out. There's more details on that page. But also, we also understand that a lot of you are still on lockdown, not able to go. Some restrictions are lifting, but a majority of them are still not back to normal out on the field yet. So one thing that we did in the past, and some of you might have seen our posts about this, is our individual skills program that we put out there for $9. You get over 40 activities that you can pass along to your players to do at home. Great activities to improve foot skills, juggling skills, moves that they can do in tight spaces. Okay, either backyard or even in the basement, small room in the house. So just doing some just to keep their ball skills improving while we're under this quarantine time here. So that is only $9. You can grab that. It's still available for that $9 price because we said we're going to have it at that discount rate all the way through this whole virus issue that we're going on, this quarantine. So you can grab that at coachestrainingroom.com/skills. I'm going to put that in the comments as well. And again, that's coachestrainingroom.com/skills, SKILLS. And you can go there and grab that. And that is lifetime access, unlimited, and you can pass it along to your players, which we've never done before either. So you can check that out. I'll pin that there in the comments. You can see it there below or in the comment section. If you're on your mobile device or your laptop or desktop, you can see it there. So definitely check that out. And like I said, Soccer Coaches University 14-day free trial is at coachestrainingroom.com/SCU29. And then that individual skills training, everything's online, digital format, available on any device connected to the internet. That's available at coachestrainingroom.com/skills. So we look forward to seeing you next week. If you have any questions, go ahead and put them in the comments, please. Even if you're watching this live or as a replay, we will check the comments and reply to you. So let us know. Let us know if you have any questions on any of our packages that I'm mentioning now. We also have a lot more on our website at coachestrainingroom.com. You can go there and go to the products tab. If you're looking for more activities to do with your teams or just building your coaching knowledge and looking to expand your coaching education, check out coachestrainingroom.com. All right, Coach Mark, we wrapped up for today. You have anything else right now?
No, everything. That's pretty much everything from me. Again, thanks for joining us live. Appreciate seeing some of you coming back and some new faces. So thank you very much for joining us. And yeah, everything that Eric mentioned there about the individual skills training, I want to reinforce that it's not just a coach that can purchase this. It can be any parent who is looking for some activities with a child, because ultimately you don't have to be a coach to deliver these. It's very, very straightforward. What we're looking at doing is increasing the quality of first touch. It's the in-game kind of repetition under no pressure. So you don't need a lot of equipment to do it. You don't need a coaching badge to be able to deliver it. It's something that you can read through, you can understand, and you can actually repeat at home. So do check that one out. And that's everything from me. So if that's all from you, Eric, just go. So we'll see you next time.
Yeah, I forgot to mention, it also comes with an ebook as well. So the ebook and then digital videos with downloadable PDFs for activities for your players to do at home. So thanks so much for joining us, coaches. Check out the link in the comment section to check out those packages. And we look forward to seeing you next week. Stay safe, keep educating yourself, and we'll see you next time. Bye for now.
Yeah, bye.